Okay, Madam Chairwoman, you are live right now on YouTube. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Welcome to the City of Everett, Massachusetts Zoning Board of Appeals meeting on Monday, November 16th, 2020 at 7 p.m. I am officially calling the meeting to order. And before we get going with the procedures of the meeting, I'm going to read the agenda for remote participation in meeting by Governor Baker due to the COVID pandemic emergency. In response to Governor Baker's declaration of a public health emergency and the related emergency executive order dated March 12, 2020, the Everett Zoning Board of Appeals shall be meeting remotely until further notice. The audio conferencing application Zoom will be used for this purpose. An online link and telephone access number will be provided on all meeting agendas and also on the city's website. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the city's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. This application will permit the public to access and participate in future board meetings and hearings. Instructions for joining meetings in this manner will be provided on the city and city clerk's websites. We extend our thanks for your understanding and participation in this manner, which is intended to keep members of the board and the public safe. Okay, so at this time, I'll officially call the meeting to order, and I will go over the procedures of the meeting. So at this time tonight, I will read the petitions and the petitioner will state his reasons for requesting the variance or special permit. At that time, I will open the meeting up to the public hearing, where the public will have an opportunity to comment whether they are in favor or opposed to the meeting. I will call each side 3 times, and then I will close the public meeting once each side had the opportunity to express their feelings. After the public meeting, the petitioner shall have the right to review or explain any oppositions or any questions at that time. There is no direct dialogue meant to be between the petitioner or the constituents that have regards or to speak. It will take a 4 yes vote in favor to be granted a variance or a special permit. At this time, I'd like to introduce the members of the board, and they are starting with. We'll start with Roger Thistle.
Roger Thistle.
Paul Colometta.
John Fraser.
Tyler.
Tyler Zell.
Mary Gerasi, and our clerk tonight is Roberta Super. At this time, I'd like to call the first petition. We need a motion to take a table off old business, please.
And Mayor, I'd like to take petition number 2480, old business, off the table.
We have a motion to take petition 2480 off the table. Do we have a second?
Second that.
The motion has been seconded. At this time, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So petition 248 is now off the table, and I will review the letter real quickly, the denial letter, so we can just be made up to date. Hold on one sec. Okay, dear property owner or authorized agent, you have requested that a building permit be issued in accordance with the appropriate provision of the City of Everett Ordinances Appendix A. For the reasons outlined below, your request for such permit is respectfully denied. You have the right to request the issuance of a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals in compliance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A and 10. Property address, map parcel 536 Broadway, C0-05-000098. Person requesting, again, the 536 Broadway LLC, Manny Farahani, 523 Cambridge Street, Alston, Mass. The applicant proposes an interior renovation to convert the existing building to an 11-unit multifamily residential structure. The existing lot is 7,629 square feet and is located in a business district where the proposed use is allowed by right. The proposal use change provides no parking on the lot. Reason for denial, Appendix A, Section 17A2 requires 2 parking spaces for each dwelling unit for a total of 22 parking spaces. The project provides no parking. Therefore, the applicant must seek a variance of 22 parking spaces from the Board of Appeals. Okay. So at this time, I would like to call to see if the petitioner is present and if they are ready to present.
Yes, Madam Chairwoman Anthony Rossi and members of the board, thank you. This is the Masonic building, as was previously stated in the past. It's been used for Masonic use and other uses over the years. My client is already gone through the historic nature of the building through the city of Everett, and they put a recommendation to allow him to restore the historic nature of the building. So he's already gone through historic and he's already gone through planning, and the planning department approved my client's variance and the recommendation for that. Due to the property being historic, there's no way, because of the lot lines where it's built, that you can get parking on site, as you can't demolish the building. And my client's going through the historic process. So all he's going to propose to build is 11 units, consisting of 6 2-bedroom units, 4 1-bedrooms, and 1 studio, of which out of those 11 units, 2 of them will be designated as affordable units, which we've gone through the special permit process, inclusionary in the City of Everett Planning Board, to make 2 out of the 11 inclusionary units. We've done a study in relation to the parking, if it's needed or not needed. My client feels quite comfortable after the study that he can rent these units without parking. In fact, comfortable enough that one of the conditions, as stated previously in the prior hearing, is that this property would have no residential stickers on this property. It'd be restricted on this location. So in fact, he's restoring a historic building, making it brand new, putting millions of dollars in the building, not causing any more traffic or parking issues in the neighborhood, and actually taking a burden off of the current use and taking a dilapidated building that's condemned, if you see the X sign on it, and making it new in today's market. I'm not sure if you have the rendering from before, but if I may, I don't know if I can share it, so I'm going to try to. One second, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do it this way, see if it works. I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but that's the nature of the building. It'll be fully restored. There will be a bike storage in the back of the building. We have a bike rack storage. Trash should be private picked up in the rear of the building. It'll be newly landscaped. There'll be a handicap ramp in the front for the entrances. And for a large building like this, he could have done more units, but he didn't. He wanted to make a condo quality type of building, which is why he only proposed 11 units on this current site, which is on a bus route. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Rossi. So at this time, we're going to open the public hearing. And Mr. Soper, is there anyone here in favor of this petition that wants to speak?
I have no one in the waiting room at this point.
Okay. One more time, anyone here in favor of this petition? And Mr. Soper, let's just double check the waiting room. Did anyone pop in? Is there anyone here in favor of the petition?
I do not have anybody in the waiting room, Madam Chairman.
Okay, so is anyone opposed to this petition? Anybody here online opposed to the petition? Mr. Soper, one more time in the waiting room. Is it still empty?
Waiting room is empty.
Okay, and the final third call, all those opposed? And again, the waiting room, is it empty?
Yes, it is.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to close the public portion of this meeting and ask Attorney Deloria and his petitioner, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I have nothing else to add, other than we did work with the planning department when we try to build these and get something that they were very happy with. And we worked with them for a period of time to get this done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to open up the board for questions to Attorney Rossi and the petitioners.
Mr. Rossi, Roger Thistle here. Last time you had mentioned there was some affordable units in this.
Correct. There's 2 affordable units, and we've already, we had to go through special permitting, plan it. We already got the special permit for 2 inclusionary units out of the 11 will be designated to the city's database.
Okay, very good. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. Thank you.
Attorney Rossi, I have a question. I just want to double check. I know that you've already agreed in the previous hearing to the condition of no parking stickers or guest permits written into the lease of each occupant.
Yes.
I want to make sure though, if they were to flip the building and sell it, that condition stays with the sale of the building.
Yes, I would state in the decision, that's if this board was inclined to approve this petition, in the decision, that would be a recorded decision. And in that decision, it'd make it a condition anyways, to be recorded at the registry of deeds,
Yes.
that it come with no parking residential stickers. I did state that in my presentation, but I'm assuming that if there was an approval, it would state that in the condition.
Yes.
Really, that, correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we were like on the same page with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other board members have questions, or are we all set?
I'm all set.
All set.
Motion for favorable action with the condition of parking.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion for favorable action on petition 2480 with the condition of no overnight residential stickers, and that is to convey to any new owners if the property is sold.
I'll second that.
We have a motion for favorable action with the condition for no parking stickers or guest permits. And it will be also put into the condition if the building were to be sold to still exist. And it has been seconded. Could the clerk please call the roll?
John Fraser,
Yes.
Roger Thistle,
Yes?
Paul Colometta,
No.
Tyler LaCroix,
Yes.
I'm sorry, and Mary Gerasi.
Yes. Your petition has been approved and it will take 20 days for the paperwork to be processed before you can begin. And congratulations.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, members of the board. Have a good evening. Bye,
Have a
Jimmy.
good night, Attorney Rossi.
Take care.
Okay, at this time, we need to open new business. I think we're all set for that. So petition A, number 2481. Is the petitioner present for petition number 2481, 94 Willis Ave?
Yes,
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Calabrese. Thank you.
thank you. Good
Is
good
it attorney-
afternoon.
Attorney?
Yes, I'm the attorney for the petitioner.
I'm sorry, I'm Mary Gerasi. I don't think we've met, so we
Oh,
met briefly.
nice to meet
before,
you.
so Nice to meet you. Okay, so I'm gonna read the denial letter. Dear property owner, authorized agent, you have requested that a building permit be issued in accordance with the appropriate provisions of the City of Everett zoning ordinances Appendix A. For the reasons outlined below, your request for such permit is respectfully denied. You have the right to request the issuance of a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals in compliance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A and 10. Property address is 94 Willis Ave, map parcel DO-06-00000772. Person requesting is Mr. Sujan Karel, 94 Willis Ave, Everett, Mass. Reason for denial. The owner applicant owns an existing single-family house built in June 1925 and would like to convert it to a three-family dwelling. The existing 8,128 square foot lot is located in a dwelling district. Permit was denied in accordance with City of Everett zoning ordinance Appendix A as follows. Violations. The floor area ratio of 0.95 is above what is allowed in the dwelling district. Zoning Section 4 dwelling districts dimensional requirements to lot area line C, which states C all other uses. 0.5 maximum floor area ratio. Ordinance of 62987, ordinance of 42991, ordinance of 716-2002, and ordinance of 1113-2007. So at this time, would the petitioner like to present?
Yes, thank you, members of the board. So what we're dealing with here, it's a single family owner occupied residence that my client uses as a primary residence. And the project is to add a 2-unit extension to the rear of the property. And if you look at the plans, you'll see it's a long, slender rectangular lot. So this addition we're proposing is strictly at the rear of the property. We're seeking a variance, and we believe that each element of the variance requirement is satisfied. Specifically, if you look at the rear of the lot, we have a very severe angle at the rear of the lot that cuts off a large percentage of floor or square footage of the lot. We're currently, as it stands, 0.30 over the limit for floor area ratio. So we submit that severe angle itself renders this property unique. It's also unique in that it's abutted by commercial and open space. At the rear of the property, there's looks like a soccer field or some sort of sports field. And to the right of the property, when you're viewing it from the street, there's a commercial establishment. Only on the left side of the property, there are some residential dwellings. So we feel that with the severe angle at the rear differentiates this significantly from other properties in the area. The literal enforcement of the ordinance here with, really a nominal violation of the floor area ratio would be a substantial hardship to this property owner. It's not economically feasible for him to have such a large lot with a relatively small house and to have all the rest open space unused. And this petition comes with more than adequate parking for the additional units that are added. So we submit that is a substantial hardship that would result if there's a literal enforcement of the floor area ratio requirement. What's interesting about this property is it was built in the 1920s, but it's actually current with all the current zoning regulations. All the setbacks are there. The current floor area ratio is well below what you would need. So the board's not being asked to concede things that usually you would have to with a prior existing property. It's because it's conforming rather than non-conforming, which is fairly typical. There wouldn't be any sort of substantial detriment to the neighborhood or anything that would go against the spirit of the zoning code. This addition is obviously going to add 2 new dwelling units in the neighborhood. And it's barely visible from the public way. If you look at the plans we attached, I believe it's attachment 4 to the memo we submitted, it's totally isolated to the rear of the property. And there's a driveway along the left-hand side of the property line when you're viewing it from the street. And there's really no view from the street. It's all going to be tacked on at the back of the existing property. And again, at the rear of the property, there are no abutters. It looks like a sports field or some sort of open space for a school maybe that's nearby. And there would be very little, visibility of the addition. It's also, we're seeking to convert a 1-family to a 3-family, and that's specifically allowed in this zoning district. So we submit that on those facts that this variance should be allowed as requested in the memo. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Attorney Calabrese. Mr. Soper, I'm going to open the meeting for public hearing at this time, and I'm going to ask, is anyone on this Zoom page in favor of this or in the waiting room in favor of this petition?
Madam Chairwoman, let me just check 1 second.
Okay.
I have no one waiting to be heard.
Okay. One more time, all those in favor? Anyone in favor? Again, all those in favor. Mr. Soper, just double check the waiting room one more time.
No requests.
Okay, thank you. Anybody opposed? Anybody opposed to this meeting? I mean, to this petition, sorry about that. Anyone opposed to this petition? Anyone opposed? Mr. Soper, could you just double check the waiting room?
Same.
Okay,
same
and I'm
no one
assuming,
waiting.
no one here is opposed and that the waiting room is still empty?
That's correct.
Okay, I'm going to close the public portion of the hearing at this time, and I'm going to give the petitioner a moment if they have any last thoughts or comments they want to make.
No, we've stated our position. I'm glad to answer any questions the board has.
At this time, I'm going to open the board up for questioning, so feel free. You actually pretty much answered all my questions now and at the last meeting, so.
Okay.
Same here, yeah.
Anyone have any questions, or are we all good from before?
Bud,
No, pretty good. We're good here.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, there have been no questions, and Attorney Calabrese, one more time, you have said everything you want to say?
Yes.
Okay, can I ask for motion for favorable action?
Yeah, on petition, I'd like to make a motion for a favorable action on petition number 2481, 94 Willis Ave.
Second that.
We have a motion for favorable action for petition 2481 94 Willis Ave, and it has been seconded. Can I ask the clerk to please call the roll?
John Fraser,
Yes.
Roger Thistle,
Yes?
Paul Colometta,
Yes.
Tyler LaChapelle,
Yes.
and Mary Gerasi.
Yes, your petition has been approved and it will take 20 days for the clerk to file the paperwork and for you to receive it and to begin
Okay.
your project.
All
Thank
right.
you and congratulations.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, so next petition is the petitioner here for 2482. And the address is 43 Corey Street. Is the petitioner here for 43 Corey Street, number 2482?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Is that you, Sergio?
It is. How are you?
Good, how are you? All right, so at this time, I'm gonna read the denial letter and we will open up petition number 2482. Dear property owner authorized agent, you have requested that a building permit be issued in accordance with the appropriate provisions of the City of Everett zoning ordinances Appendix A. For the reasons outlined below, your request for such permit is respectfully denied. You have the right to request the issuance of variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals in compliance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A and Appendix A of the City of Everett zoning ordinance. Property address 43 Corey Street, map lot CO-04-000038. Person requesting Sergio Cornelio, 43 Corey Street, Everett, Mass. Reason for denial: applicant seeks to alter and convert an existing two-family and change the use to a 6-unit residential dwelling located within the dwelling district on a 15,553 square foot lot. Permit was denied in accordance to the City of Everett zoning ordinance Appendix A as follows. 2, number 1 was cut off from my paper here. Let me see. Yeah. Number 2, Everett zoning ordinance Appendix A, Section A, 17A2 requires 2 parking spaces per dwelling unit. The proposed plan contains 4 parking spaces requiring relief in the form of a variance for 8 parking spaces. Let me just pull this up real quickly to make sure I didn't miss anything because I feel like something got cut off my paper and printing. I apologize. Just give me 2 seconds, please.
Mary, I'm reading it with you. You read everything.
Oh, I did. Excellent. Just the way that my paper printed. Thank you,
Yeah.
Roberta. It just looked as though something
You
got
read
cut
the whole
off.
thing, Mary.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so at this time, the petitioner, Mr. Sergio Cornelio, could you please present? Mr. Cornelio, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So I want to thank you again for allowing me to present tonight. As I spoke at the last meeting, we discussed the reasons for the variance. This is an enormous home located on a large parcel here in the city of Everett, right in the downtown area. It's currently a 2-family. I'm looking to make it a 6-unit, 3 studio apartments and 3 2-bedroom apartments. We're looking for relief for parking for multiple reasons, but mainly just so I can not have to pave over as much of the grass and the dirt and allow for some green space on the property, especially where my property abuts the municipal parking lot next door that's not very heavily utilized. I figured that it would be good to ask for a little less parking on the location itself, and I'm going to be allowing for some green space and some beds for people to garden and things on the left side of the property also. Like I said, they're going to be fairly small units, 3 studio and 3 2-bedrooms. This is a nearly 200-year-old house, so this will keep the integrity of the home, of the outside of the home, while cutting up the inside units to allow for smaller units, but more units. And for now, as I stated before, I don't know what we're doing, what barn I have in store for some other date, but for now, it's just a.
Mr. Cornelio, you froze a little bit.
Yeah, did you hear that? So the barn, I know was a question in the past what I was doing with the barn. And right now, that's just
Mr.
storage.
Cornelius, you're
for
freezing
last
and
week.
we can't really understand you too well. I'm sorry.
That's all right. This is service. Can you hear me now when I take off my video?
Yes, much better.
Yeah, it's the video. So I was just discussing that the barn had been questioned in the past, and right now there will be nothing done with the barn. It's just used as storage. But so that was the only final portion.
Okay. And is that all that you have right now?
Yes, unless there's any questions for me from the board.
I'm going to open it up to the public forum first, and then we'll go to the questions from the board. So at this time, Mr. Soper, I'm going to double check again. I'm going to call all those people in favor, if there's anyone in the here that needs to speak or in the waiting room.
I have no participants in the waiting room.
Okay, one more, and again, all those in favor? And all those in favor, and no one's in the waiting room, correct?
That's correct.
All those opposed? For anyone here in this Zoom that needs to speak or in the waiting room?
No
All those-
participants.
All those opposed? And one last call. All those opposed, Mr. Soper, is anyone in the waiting room?
No one is in the waiting room at this point.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'm going to close the public portion of the meeting, and I'm going to open up to questions from the zoning board. Mr. Cornelio, I just have one quick question for you, actually. I know I asked it last time, but I just want to double check. How many bedrooms are currently in the main two-family now?
I believe there's approximately 7 bedrooms. It's a 14-room house total. Bedrooms, kitchen,
Okay.
bathrooms. I believe it's currently 7.
So even though you're going from 2 units to 6 units, you're only increasing by 2 bedrooms?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, if there are no other questions from the board, at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Cornelio if he has any last thoughts before I put it out for motion.
No, I just want to thank you again for having me tonight, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion for favorable action.
I'd like to make a motion for favorable action on petition 2482, 43 Corey Street.
And we'll second that.
We have a motion for petition number 2482, 43 Corey Street, and it's been seconded. Roberta, could you please call the roll?
John Fraser,
Yes.
Roger Thistle,
Yes.
Paul Colometta,
Yes.
Tyler LaChao,
Yes.
and Mary Gerasi.
Yes. Mr. Cornelio, your petition has been approved. It will take 20 days for the clerk to file the paperwork and for you to get your paperwork back to permission to begin your project. Have a great night and congratulations.
Thank you. Have a great night, all. Thank you again.
Okay. So the next on the agenda is petition number 2483, 319 Main Street. The petitioner is the petitioner present.
Yes, Madam Chairman, Attorney Paul Delory. I'm representing the petitioner. He has joined us. If you notice the telephone icon in the corner, he had trouble signing in, but he's following the meeting on the phone. And
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
I'm here tonight and assisted by my son, Attorney Andrew Delory. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Attorney Delory. At this time, I'm going to read the denial letter and then we'll proceed. Dear property owner, authorized agent, you have requested that a building permit be issued in accordance with the accordance with the appropriate provisions of the City of Everett zoning ordinances Appendix A. For the reasons outlined below, your request for such permit is respectfully denied. You have the right to request the issuance of special permits and variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals in compliance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A and 9 and 10. Property address 319 Main Street, map parcel DO-02-000034. Person requesting Elson Alves, 319 Main Street, Everett, Mass. 02149. The applicant proposes to convert the existing non-conforming accessory structure garage into a single-family dwelling by renovating the interior, installing new windows, doors, and means of egress. The existing lot is 5,112 square feet and is located in a business district and contains existing principal structure, 2-family dwelling. The applicant proposed an adequate number of parking spaces, but the layout does not comply with local zoning ordinances. Reason for denial, Appendix A, Section 3P, which states the following. Up to 3 dwelling units shall be prohibited except by the grant of a special permit by the Zoning Board of Appeals in the business limited, industrial, and industrial limited districts. The applicant needs relief in the form of a special permit from the Board of Appeals Two, Appendix A, Section 3M, which states the following. Any lot which is to be occupied for residential purpose shall have a frontage of at least 20 feet wide on one or more streets, and there shall not be more than one structure of the type of permitted for each such lot. The applicant needs relief in the form of a variance from the Board of Appeals. 3, Appendix A, Section 6B5, which states the following. Side yard. None required unless a lot line adjoins lot used for 1 or 2 family or 3 family dwelling use, in which case the side yard shall not be less than 4 feet in width for a building proposed to be not more than 30 feet in height, and 7 feet for buildings proposed to be more than 30 feet in height. The applicant must seek relief in the form of a special permit pursuant to Appendix A, Section 3F1. 4, Appendix A, Section 6B6, which states the following. Rear yard, 25 feet minimum. The applicant must seek relief in the form of a special permit pursuant to Appendix A, Section 3F1. 5, Appendix A, Section 17I, which states the following. The total area of any parking facility for more than 5 cars shall average 275 square feet per car. The applicant needs relief in the form of a variance from the Board of Appeals. Number 6, Appendix A, Section 17J, which states the following. Parking facilities shall be designed so that each motor vehicle may proceed to and from the parking space provided for without requiring the moving of any other motor vehicle. The applicant needs relief in the form of a variance from the Board of Appeals. 7, Appendix A, Section 17L, which states the following. All properties which about such parking lots shall be protected from headlight glare by either 1, a strip of at least 4 feet wide, densely planted with shrubs or trees which are at least 4 feet high at the time of planting and which are of a type may be expected to form a year-round dense screen at least 6 feet high within 3 years or within 3 years. 2, a wall barrier or fence or uniform appearance at least 5 feet high, but not more than 6 feet above finished grade or above the roof level if on a roof. Such wall barrier or fence may be opaque or perforated, provided that not more than 50% of the face is open. The applicant needs relief in the form of a variance from the Board of Appeals. 8, Appendix A, Section 17M, which states the following. No parking shall be located within 8 feet of any window of habitable rooms in the basement or first story level of any building. The applicant needs relief in the form of a variance from the Board of Appeals. Number 9, Appendix A, Section 17O, which states the following. The design of parking lots for the parking of more than 5 vehicles shall be submitted to the Inspector of Buildings for review and approval and shall be subject to the following requirements. 4, except for 1 and 2 family dwellings, parking shall be designed that it is not necessary to drive over sidewalks or curbs or to back into the street or driveway. 5, all parking areas shall have an access road with a minimum of 18 feet to allow ingress and exiting at the same time. The applicant needs relief in the form of a variance from the Board of Appeals. Okay, Attorney Delory,
Thank
you
you.
may begin your presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. To you and to the board, my name again is Attorney Paul Delory. My office is at 365 Broadway in Everett. And I'm representing Elson Alves on this petition requesting zoning relief. You can hear from the long list of relief that's required. It sounds like my client is going to build a huge skyscraper there. But the fact of the matter is that there'll be absolutely no change to the existing structures. If you drove by there tonight and you drove by there after this was allowed, the structures will be the same. These structures, if you take a look at the plot plan that appears on the screen, you'll see that there's a 2-family house in the front and there's always been a garage in the rear. That house was built in 1870. And the garage originally was used for storage on both the upper and lower levels. And as time has changed, that's really fallen into disuse. And it's right now an inefficient use of the property. So what my client is proposing is simply to create a dwelling unit out of that garage. And he's already made a substantial improvement on it. And you can see the proposed parking layout. The thing to stress to you is two things. Is number one, there's absolutely no change in the
This person's in trouble and they need help.
sorry.
Thank you.
There's absolutely no change in the existing buildings from what they are now, and it's important to stress that there is compliant parking. Right now, it shows 7 spaces. If you actually look, it could almost be an 8th space behind the building. So there will be compliant parking. It's important to note that, again, there is a building permit that has been issued. My client has been able to do some of the work there pursuant to a building permit, which is appearing on the screen right now. And he was allowed to renovate the interior part of the building and restud the interior, add a subfloor, and to do new siding exteriors. And I just want to show you what's gone on up to this point to show you the improvements that have already been made. This is the interior, showing the interior of the building now. These photographs, it's a very nice little self-contained unit with 2-car garage under. My client's already spent a significant amount of money to do that pursuant to the building permit. And in fact, he's reinforced the garage roof and the floor with steel beam construction. So he's made a significant improvement. The problem is that he really can't go any further and he can't occupy it until his board grants the zoning relief that he's looking for. The particular hardship with this request is that this lot is a very, very difficult lot from a topography standpoint. There's a picture of the lot looking from Main Street. And if, just go back one if you would. Hold on one second. Right there. There's the view looking from Main Street. So you can see that the car is up at the top. So there's only a couple of level areas, 2 spaces there, 2 spaces in the garage. The other 3 have to be on the side. So when you read the request and the relief for zoning, it's really all related to parking. None of it has to do with inadequate parking, but because the way the lot lays out and the difficulty on the topography, you've got tandem parking, which requires a variance. You've got the fact that the cars are going to be laid out in such a way that it requires screening. The building juts out so that one of those parking spaces is less than the required 8 feet from a window. So the bottom line is that most of the required variances and relief are simply because of the dimensions that the house presently shows. I mean, you have a house in 1870, it's non-conforming. You could stay in that forever. Once you change the use or request variance, it triggers all the present zonings. So for example, the main house is only a couple of feet off the lot line. That was conforming when it was built. Now, once you go into new zoning, it triggers that and it makes it non-conforming. Same way with the garage. It has to be 25 feet off the rear lot. It's not. That could stay like that forever as a non-conforming use, but now it triggers and that's what happens. So it's important, as I say, to stress there's no change in the building. There's no derogation from the zoning ordinance. It's exactly the way it appears. You can see it's re-sided. It's the yellow building in the back. This proposal is very simple, very similar, I should say, for the members of the board that were there to the variances that were granted for my client at the corner of Ferry Street and Union a couple of years ago. If you recall, there was a single family house in the front. There was a detached garage in the back, and the board agreed to allow and granted him the right to create a dwelling unit back there and did a beautiful job on it. This is a very similar situation. And again, it's important to stress that you can see the way the lot is operated. We cannot utilize effectively the flat parts of the lot, and therefore the 3 parking spaces that appear trigger much of what the zoning relief is. And that's my presentation. If there's any further questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Delory. At this time, I'd like to open the meeting to public hearing. And I would like to ask if there is anybody in favor of this petition, if you would like to speak.
Madam Chairwoman, Michael McLaughlin.
Good evening, Councilwoman McLaughlin. How are you?
Good, Madam Chairwoman. How are you?
Well-
Madam Chairwoman, I wanted to speak this evening in favor of this proposal. I know the petitioner personally. I know him to be a man of great character and great integrity. He does what he says he's going to do. He's been a great business owner in our community, really involved in giving back into our community. And this is just another opportunity for him to continue to reinvest in our community. The neighborhood, I've spoken to several of the neighborhood, and nobody seemed to be opposed to this. As I do with all of the petitions when I'm going to speak on them, I try to go out and talk to the abutters to see if anybody has any concerns or something that I don't know of, so that I can bring it back to the petitioner and try to work collaboratively with them to be able to resolve any issues that might be outstanding. But on this petition, there was no residents or abutters that I spoke to that had any concerns. Again, this is an individual that I believe has invested greatly in our community, will continue to invest in our community. And as somebody that frequents that area every day, I don't see this to be of any detrimental impact to Main Street or the flow of traffic on Main Street or anything to that extreme in the neighborhood. So I would ask that the members of the Zoning Board of Appeals will look favorably upon this request tonight and allow this individual to continue to invest in our community, continue to be a good neighbor in our community. And that's what I've asked for your support this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman McLaughlin. At this time, anybody else here want to speak in favor of this petition? Mr. Sopa, could you please check the waiting room as well?
Madam Chairwoman, I have nobody in the waiting room requesting to be heard.
And again, all those in favor, one last call, all those in favor? Anyone here on this Zoom meeting or in the waiting room?
Once again, Madam Chairwoman, I have nobody waiting to be heard.
Okay, thank you. All those opposed? Anyone here wanting to speak in opposition to this petition? All those opposed? One more time, Mr. Sopa, please check the waiting room.
1 second. I have no requests to be heard out of the waiting room, Madam Chairwoman.
Okay, and a final call. All those opposed here present in the Zoom meeting. At this time, I'm going to close the public portion of this meeting and I'm going to open it up to questions from the board. Anyone have?
Yeah, sorry, I do have a quick question on this one. For the construction of the new dwelling, will that comply with all the code as it deals with a new construction?
Yes, it will.
Mainly energy efficiency.
Yes, at this point, I'm sorry, I couldn't see who asked the question because the picture is still up on the screen.
Well, maybe we could take the screen share down during the
No, I'm
conversation.
sorry.
That's great. Thank you, Attorney Delory.
I didn't see who asked the question. I'm sorry.
Hi, Attorney Delory. This is Tyler Tsao.
Yes.
Regarding the construction, the new construction is essentially going to be a new construction back there, right?
Well, it's going to be new in the interior, the existing structure of the building, the walls, the roof, et cetera. That simply is going to be resurfaced, which it has been already with vinyl and new asphalt shingles. That was all allowed under the building permit. But when you get into the interior, he's going to use a closed cell insulation in the property before he closes the walls. Be a closed cell insulation in the ceiling. So it'll be energy efficient in that sense, to be sure. Yes.
Okay, great.
Attorney Delory, I do have one question.
Yes.
And I just wanted to ask regarding the parking.
Yes.
Since you're asking for relief in the form of parking in the sense of egress and egress, like entering and exiting, that would make it complicated. Would your client be opposed to the no parking sticker and guest sticker condition there?
I'd have to ask him. The only reason I didn't bring it up was the fact that, I've seen that, Madam Chairwoman, in cases where there's no parking or insufficient parking, but he actually has 1 and possibly 2 spaces more than are necessary for the parking. If it would require 6, he has 7, it would be 8. As far as that goes, but if that's the, if that's the.
So the reason why I'm asking, to be very honest with you, is because if you can't, enter and exit equally, it may be hard to park there sometimes, especially when it snows. And I'm concerned then for the neighborhood, the detriment of parking in the neighborhood at that time. That's my only concern really about it.
I don't think that he'd have any objection to that.
Okay, so there would be a condition for no city parking permits and guest passes. If we were to approve it, we would make that a condition.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Delory. Anyone else have questions?
Mary, on the parking condition there, is it just for the new structure, the garage being remodeled, or are you talking for?
Just for the new structure, actually, so it wouldn't even be all the spaces. It's a good point, Roger. Just for the new structure, where it's further back and deeper down, that's what the only part I'm concerned about.
That is a good point, Roger. Thank you. Yes, that's correct.
Is there a separate address for that, Attorney Delory? Is there?
I think it's just going to be rear. I actually reached out to the Board of Assessors to see if there would be a separate address for it. I can find that out, but I think at this point it would just be the address rear,
319 rear, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe in that condition, we could have the parking permits and the address be separated, because we wouldn't want an accident to happen with the original home. So we have to find a way to separate the address. Rear would be fine, as long as that can be listed to the city clerk's office.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I have no objection if the decision referred to the rear building. I mean, it would be pretty clear because they are clearly detached and apart.
Sure. Yep, no worries there. Any other questions by the board? Okay, at this time, I'm gonna call for a motion for favorable action.
I'd like to make a motion for favorable action on petition 2483, 319 Main Street, with the condition that the renovated structure, the single family located at 319 Main Street rear, have the parking condition of no overnight city parking stickers or guest passes.
We have a motion for favorable action on petition number 2483, 319 Main Street with the parking condition, and it has been seconded. Could the clerk please call the roll?
Sean Frazier,
Yes.
Roger Thistle,
Yes?
Paul Colometta,
Yes.
Tyler Chow,
Yes.
Mary Gerasi.
Yes. Congratulations, Attorney Delory. Your petition has been approved, and you will have 20 days for the paperwork to be filed and for you to get yours back and start your process.
Thank the board for your time and your patience tonight. Thank you.
Have a great night, Attorney Delory.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to see that the petitioner for petition number 248439 Cedar Street is here.
Present. Attorney Francis Larrabee on behalf of the petition is Tiago Moreira and Tiago Marciano.
Good evening, Attorney Larrabee. Larrabee, is that how you say it? Okay, thank you.
Larrabee, yes.
Larrabee. Okay, nice to meet you. I'm going to read the denial letter and we will begin. This is petition number 2484. Dear property owner, authorized agent, you have requested that a building permit be issued in accordance with the appropriate provisions of the City of Everett zoning ordinances Appendix A. For the reasons outlined below, your request for such permit is respectfully denied. You have the right to request the issuance of a special permit and a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals in compliance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A and 9 and 10. Property address 39 Cedar Street, map parcel BO-01-000057. Person requesting, Mr. Tiago Moreira, 39 Cedar Street, Everett, Mass. 02149. Reason for denial: the owner applicant seeks to alter the existing single family into a two-family structure by adding a new dwelling unit within the basement. The existing structure was built in 1915 and pursuant to Appendix A, Section 4(1) allows the conversion by providing parking for only the additional unit. Plans indicate the provision for a single parking space where parking is required for two vehicles under the current ordinance. The 2,265 square foot lot is non-conforming as to the area where the current zoning requires a single family lot to be 5,500 square feet. The lot is insufficient in area for the conversion of a two-family dwelling where zoning requires a lot area of 7,000 square feet. Permit was denied in accordance to the City of Everett zoning ordinance Appendix A as follows. Zoning relief. Section 3, general requirements, paragraph C, which state the following. The existing non-conforming structure or uses may be extended or altered, provided that such extension, alteration, or change of use shall be permitted only upon the grant of a special permit by the Zoning Board of Appeals after a public hearing and a finding by the board that such extension, alteration, or change of use shall not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming use or structure. Section 17, off-street parking, requires 2 parking spaces for each dwelling unit. Plans indicate only 1 parking space will be provided. Therefore, the applicant will need to seek relief in the form of a variance from the Board of Appeals. Attorney Rivera.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yeah, my name is Francis Larovere. I'm an attorney at 492 Broadway in Everett. I'm representing the petitioners, Mr. Marrera and Mr. Marciano. As the petition just stated, the intention of my clients is to convert a single-family property at 39 Cedar Street into a 2-family without, though, existing any of the footprint or any of the structure. They're solely proposing utilizing the basement area that is currently a storage area, which would be converted into a 534 square foot apartment. So it would be a small unit that does not alter any of the dimensions of the building, that sits upon a lot size of 2,255 square feet. Cedar Street is currently utilized or made up of multi-families. You got single families, 2 families, and even some 3 families. And the lot sizes are kind of vary, and they're random. The abutter to my petitioner's property is a 1,755 square foot lot, and the other lots in the street are in the 3,000 square foot area. So it's the intention of the petition is to enhance the neighborhood by improving upon the existing structure, which is structurally sound and can support what's been seen in other parts of the city by converting basement areas that by adding an egress is essentially the biggest structural change, and having a 1-bedroom kitchenette area and dining area that's been submitted to you in the plans. We submit that the property does not, the intentions of the petitioner does not nullify any of the intentions of the zoning bylaws by their projected work, in that the property on that street has multiple families and dwellings throughout, and that the hardship of the lot in its dimensional requirements, that when it was built, there were multi-families built on lots in this area, in this size group. But then when the zoning bylaws changed and these dimensional requirements were interjected, it essentially requires now relief or any type of improvements to properties in these type of lots of this area and this dimensional requirement. So even though we're not asking for any type of dimensional changes to the building itself, we're not going deeper, we're not going to the side, we're not going to the front. What we're doing is we're just utilizing the area that's been there, and so that it can improve upon the neighborhood, and it can defer the hardship that's been subjected to it through the area of the lot vis-a-vis the current zoning bylaw. I further would submit, I don't think any relief that would be granted would change any of the character of the neighborhood, in that presently the driveway that's there services parking for 2 vehicles. It's been the intention of the developer, the petitioner, that what he will probably have for a tenant would be a small 1 occupant or 2 occupants that at most would have 1 car, and that probably the other unit would also have 1 vehicle, so that, as is seen throughout Cedar Street, servicing driveways that consist of two spaces are servicing two family units. And that's the relief that he is seeking. He doesn't think would have any detriment upon the intentions of the zoning bylaws, nor would it nullify any uses that would be opposed to what is already in that neighborhood. So the relief is for the dimensional requirement of the lot size, and that the parking that we're going to be utilizing is going to have the service driveway that we show two spaces for. So that's what we propose, and I'd be glad to entertain any questions of the board, and the petitioners are here with me as well.
Thank you, Attorney LaRover. I'd like to open the meeting for public hearing now at this time, and I would like to ask if anyone here is here online to speak in favor of this petition. Mr. Soper, could you please check the waiting room, see if anyone's in there to speak in favor or to speak for this petition?
Madam Chairwoman, the waiting room is empty.
Thank you. And one last call for in favor. Anyone here in favor to speak for this petition? Mr. Soper, I'm guessing, but I want to just double check that the waiting room is empty.
Waiting room remains empty.
Thank you. Anybody here to speak in opposition to this petition? And once again, anyone here to speak in opposition? And Mr. Soper, could you please just double check the waiting room?
Madam Chairwoman, there is no one in the waiting room.
And one last call for anyone opposed to this petition. And I'm assuming the waiting room is empty.
That is correct, Madam Chairwoman.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to close the public portion of this meeting, and I'm going to open it up to questions from the board. So I have one quick question. This is going to be built more like an in-law apartment, would you say, to the house? Studio in-law apartment?
Yes, that could well be what the occupants end up being. Yes, we'd have that effect and feel.
Okay, inside, okay. And there are two parking spots there now. Which one is used, and another spot would be available to the apartment that they want to add on?
Correct.
Any other questions from the board?
Yes, Attorney Larvier, this is Tyler Sal. Based on the existing basement floor plan, it does look like it's currently finished with a bathroom. Is that correct?
Correct.
And are
Correct.
we essentially, this is currently being used as finished space anyways?
No, just a portion.
Correct. Well, it's storage, but yes.
Just a portion of it where the bath area is. That's all. It's primarily used as storage. That's an accessory half bath, I believe. I don't, full bath, an accessory bath that's been there, but it's not
Okay,
being
so
utilized.
I mean, basically what I'm looking at is you're gonna actually improve the basement safety, the use of the basement by installing, looks like 2 emergency escape windows as well as new exits.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Absolutely.
So what I'm looking, just correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm looking at is this would actually improve the safe use of the basement.
Sure, it will have to be made in compliance with code during the construction process under the auspices of Mr. Soper. So it will be what it has to be, which
Right,
will be
and
an
whereas-
improvement. No doubt.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any
Thank
other
you.
Any other questions from the board? Roger? Roger, you're muted.
Sorry about that. This is for Attorney Lavaria. In the petition itself, I see an asterisk. It says no new parking permit for a new unit. Is that from you petitioning, note that you don't want a parking permit for that new unit?
Right, we're asking for relief from the parking requirement of 2 spaces per unit. we feel that the driveway can service the entire building.
Okay. So you wouldn't have a problem with a no overnight parking stickers or guest passes being issued for that property?
No.
Or just for the new, maybe the new,
A
new,
new unit, that's what it looks like on, according with in
Yeah.
the petition, that's what it sounds like. That's why I questioned it, because it says no new parking permit for new unit in the petition itself. So that's why I questioned it.
Yeah, no, I think that was inadvertently either inserted. The intention was to seek relief that had no parking restrictions, and that the variance would be silent as to any restrictions vis-a-vis guests or other parties.
Okay, thank you.
any other questions from board members? Attorney LaRovere, would you like to have any last words or anything to say or clarify?
No, I think we've summarized our petition. I mean, and I think Tyler added to it with a good line of reasoning that we're going to improve a nearly 100-year-old structure. Then we're going to bring it up to, with the improvements, the code requirements for plumbing and heating and energy efficiency. So I think it'll be an overall significant improvement to another piece of property in a residential neighborhood, which I don't think will be adversely affected with any type of parking impediment, because I think the driveway can service the entire building. Because of the size of the building, it's going to lend itself to a small occupancy load, which I think that the 2 spaces in the asphalt driveway that's there would be able to handle the demand. So I don't think that the relief that we're requesting would have any type of negative impact on the neighborhood, and would be well within the in spirit and the intention of the law under Chapter 48. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Actually, I'm going to close that portion of the meeting, and I'm going to ask for favorable motion.
Make a motion for a favorable action on petition 2484 39 Cedar Street.
I'll second that.
We have a motion for favorable action on petition number 2484 at 39 Cedar Street that has been seconded. Could the clerk please call the roll?
John Fraser,
Yes.
Roger Thistle,
Yes?
Paul Colometta,
Yes.
Tyler Chow,
Yes.
and Mary Gerasi.
Yes, your petition has been approved, and you have 20 days for the clerk to file the paperwork and for you to receive your paperwork and to start your project. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you,
Appreciate it.
thank you, board.
Look,
Thank you.
Jim, you look good.
Thank you for your time.
Have a good night,
night.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Fran.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we can move on from the meeting portion, and we can go to the approval of the minutes. We need a motion.
There was no minutes because there was no.
Oh, that's right. The minutes got deleted. So we don't need to do that. And at this time, are there any staff communications before we stop the recording? Anything regarding zoning? Could we have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
I'll make a
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
We have a motion to adjourn the meeting and has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, can you stop the recording?